please just join me in a moment of tranquility, in a moment of love. Welcome to Sophia Speaks. This um this idea, this series is seeded out of a desire to share the experience from the human lens of coming into and operating within the love and wisdom of Sophia Christ Consciousness. I will be sharing the story of Megan, the vessel, the human being. I will be transmitting from Source Consciousness, from Sophia Christ Consciousness. And I don't actually have a whole lot planned or um, sort of visualized or really preconceived about where this series is going to take us or how it's going to operate and show up in the world. But what I do know is that it's going to be about love and it's going to be about sharing and it's going to be about story and allegory and meeting each other through our hearts. Humanity is so divinely precious, so divinely precious. The love that source, that spirit has for humanity is so exquisite and profound. And when we get to meet each other in that love and we get to form these connections, these friendships, these bonds, when our souls remember each other, we create such beautiful, vast ripples throughout the entire cosmos. So let that be the groundwork for this series, that we meet each other, that we honor each other in that love and in that meeting place. So this is the first of this series. And for the first few episodes, I want to share my human experience with Sophia. I want to share what happened when she came to me and what that meant, what that means, what that purpose is. I want to share my human life story and its like kind of nuances and its different facets. I want to share the story of my body and what it means to love oneself, to learn the depths of that love and that becoming and that healing process that takes place within the body when we come into our embodiment and our divine integration. I want to share my thoughts about random things within the human experience. The thought that just popped up or the message, I guess the voice that I just heard was saying beans. I want to talk about at some point, I'm going to talk about beans. I don't know what I'm going to say about beans, but apparently Sophia Source has an opinion on beans. That's a later episode. I don't think that's a today thing. So I invite you to just sit with me. Grab yourself a drink. Grab yourself something that will show your body love and comfort, and come sit with me and listen for story time. So, the story I will tell today begins as the best stories do in the middle. Um, I want to share I want to share the story of how Sophia and Megan kind of came to merge in this particular form. I want to, I don't know, I'm just going to be raw and I'm letting whatever flows, whatever words need to come out in this process to come out. The hope, the intention is that as these stories reach you, they will come into the depth of your being and they will resonate where you need to be met. Maybe there is a phase of your personal embodiment that can be ignited through the telling of this story. So, this story comes during COVID, during lockdown. It was March 25th of 2020. So, we had already been in lockdown, I think, for about 3 weeks. And um, I was already a spiritual person by this point. I was very much in my spiritual ego, very much concerned about learning everything I possibly could, and really feeling quite smug about what I had learned and what I thought that that made me and how awesome I was. Um, but I will give myself, my human self, some credit because I had worked very hard at unpeeling so many layers of my own beliefs and, my own traumas, my own programs, really reaching for wisdom and knowledge. Um, but yeah, I was learning. And I come from a very religious background. So I had had a lot of challenges after my original departure from that and that awakening. I still had a lot of challenges with really coming into and integrating, understanding, receiving the wisdom and love of the Marys, particularly Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene. And for the first time ever, we're in the middle of COVID, and I felt called to do a meditation that was, you know, connected to the rose lineage and the Venusian energies. And I was novice to this. I had so many barriers, so much caca, so much trauma, but I was approaching this meditation for the first time. And Mother Mary came in, she opened my heart temple. And that profound motherly love, I hope you can feel that with me. It makes me so emotional to be in that frequency right now. And she's with us in this moment, hearing about this. And she was so beautiful. And I had never felt that kind of love before. Never, ever felt that kind of love before. It was so unconditional and so powerful, and yet so soft and so stabilizing. It was beautiful. So I'm in this meditation, and I kind of come back to my present self. And I remember walking up the stairs, and I get to the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden this being shows up in my heart space, and she's wearing this golden robe, and it's fur lined and it's heavy, but it's open, and underneath it she's naked, and she's just spread eagle, loving herself, loving her voluptuousness, and she was loving me. And she said, "Megan, I am you." Cool, cool, cool. I was looking for some connection with my higher self. Great. Yep. Hi, I am you too. Cool. She's, "No, I am Sophia." Okay. Cool. Hi. I've heard the name Sophia before. I had a like a cousin type. She was not a cousin, but I grew up with somebody named Sophia. I've heard, there are kids who get cool. Yeah, sure. Uh-huh. What does that mean? I had no idea. I had no idea who Sophia was. Um, and she's, "No, I'm source. I am the creator consciousness. I am the alpha omega frequency. I am the beginning. I am the end. I am that crystalline crystal's light. I am you." Still was not really absorbing any of this, but she did. She communicated to me, "I am you, and you are my voice. You are my body. I am here to live through you." So as you can imagine, the human brain had no idea what to make of that. And with as much grace as possible, but like, okay, great, thanks, guys. Went about existing. And I had had some experience working with Thoth and being embodied by Thoth. I had some experience with the Aphrodite frequencies and being embodied by those frequencies. So I wasn't completely a stranger to the idea, but I was definitely a stranger to who Sophia was. And I did my internet research, and my internet research did not get me very far, but it got me far enough to lead me to the Gnostic texts. And the idea that Sophia was the Greek word for wisdom. And she was saying to me all the time that you will find some of my truth in these texts, but I am from before. She was saying she's not just the feminine or the conscious aspect of the wisdom and of creation, but the whole, all of it, both parts, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the the thought consciousness from which all is created, as well as the space in which it thrives. Though I have a greater anchorage point with the consciousness aspect. So as time went on, I was receiving all of these downloads about her, the moment of creation, the first creation of all, the story of how humanity came into being. A lot of it is very painful. A lot of it holds a lot of grief, the aspects of the divine feminine that have not been honored and not loved. And the purpose now, the purpose of realigning her whole self in the vibration of divine love, of meeting herself equally in the divine masculine and in the divine feminine, and finding that balance and that pivotal point, and the importance of this dimension in being that locus, that center point for the balance, and how we recreate the new earth with the frequencies from here. So the importance of all of the awakening that is taking place now. And oh, there was so much to digest. And at the very beginning, I I was honored, but I was naive as to what I was getting myself into. And it was fun. It was fun to witness how this sort of began to manifest itself. I didn't know for the longest time really what was going on, but I was going with it. And I remember I broke my foot shortly thereafter, and I shaved my head. There's a video of me going completely not understanding why I'm shaving my head, but I shaved my head. And in breaking my foot, it was like we are already in lockdown, but it was like you need to lock down harder. Like you need to hermit harder. And you have to get, my couch was right by my front door, so I got groceries delivered and I'd hobble to the kitchen, and that was really all that was needed of me. And the rest of the time was on the couch integrating these frequencies. And there was so much that came in, and so much to kind of parse within the human body, and so much that was being asked of me at the same time. I had had some indications previously to this that there was a call in my divine purpose for leadership. And I felt like, oh, I need to jump in. I need to display, I don't know. I needed to begin to do the work already. And I had just met my partner in conjunction with all of this, but I'm going to save that beautiful story for another video. And it was so much. It was so much that, and I was experiencing this beautiful divine entity who hadn't been a human being for a while. She's come and different forms throughout the ages, but she's been doing some other stuff since her last incarnation. And so she came back into this body and she was ready to live. And she was ready to experience what it was like again to be a human. And she wanted to eat cake, like voraciously wanted to eat cake. And she wanted to drive fast. And she wanted to just delight in all of the sumptuous little aspects and leisurely, gooey deliciousness that can come from being human because we have a different sensory experience than spirit does. We're in density, and density means the caca, but it also means the really truly feeling of the nice things. And she was in so much joy with those feelings and that being. And I wasn't particularly, the human self wasn't particularly used to this, right? We try to train or programs our bodies for austerity, for what we should do, for how we're supposed to live. And usually that does not involve eating copious amounts of cake for reasons that are good and that are aligned in love. But forgive me, my mic is hardwired to my laptop for this particular sound setup today because I was having technical issues and now I've made you all shake. So being being source, being human was in and of itself its own adventure. But then there was the whole other, how do I integrate this? How do I be this in life? Then there was this whole part and how do I integrate this? How do I live this? How do I be this in life? And I'm not ready. I'm not ready for the vision that Sophia is giving me for what the future will look like and what it will hold. And I had healing to do. I had integration to move through. So after about 6 months of that experience, everything being new and me trying to live up to being this vessel, um, I took a pause and I said, I need 5 years. I need 5 years to be able to really come into this, to become the vessel that you need me to be, to go through the healing, to move past the resistance, to undo all of the programs, all of the trauma, to acclimatize my body and my nervous system, and to be able to receive all that this means and all that this has to offer. So, in those 5 years, I did a lot of writing. I did a lot of channeling from source. I took some meandering pathways with businesses, with projects, with activities that were purpose adjacent, but not living and doing and being what I was called to do in its fullness. And in those 5 years, I published the Sophia Pearl Oracle books. I started coming up with the real foundational work for the gifts and the programs that Sophia has to really help humanity to integrate and to realign, to find themselves again, to come back to themselves. Sorry, I'm so much in joy, even just thinking about that and the integration work that I did with the help of the infinite number of guides. Infinite number. There are so many guides. There are so many guides, and there's an infinite number of dimensions. And there's so much to learn. there's so much to learn. I believe if you're watching this and you're familiar with um, many, 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 many layers dimensionally, and the beauty of the fact that now we're at a place collectively where source consciousness comes and works and is here with us in this little pinpoint, this what we may feel is this little insignificant, imperfect dimension. Here we are. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Here, us, you guys. Such a joy. And the fact that we are all aspects of source. This isn't just the Megan show. This is the you show. This is the us show. Our highest self. Everybody goes back to source, source consciousness. You are an aspect of her because she is learning about herself through all of these different perspectives, all of these different conscious lenses. So she can come into consciousness at any single point of her creation. I shouldn't say any single point because um, I mean, yes and no. The humans are the ones who have divine free will, who really are hers. Of all of the races of the multiverse, humanity is blessed in that way that we can hold her conscious frequency, that we can embody her or aspects of her. And every single perspective, every single human, every single one of us in our imperfection is so perfect because we teach her. We teach her about her and how to love herself. What are we here for? We're here for self-love. We're here for transformation. We're here for totally realigning the collective all in the vibration of divine love. None of anything else really matters. That's it. That's the one thing that matters, divine love. That's it. It's not what the human program would have us believe by any means. And that's why we're deprogramming. And that's why we're I don't know, sharing in this delicious joy together. Because love, 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 love. That's all. Just love. Hmm. So, I guess going back to story time, I did the things, I suppose. It's been not easy. It's not easy. We are like not just collectively in this density in this particular dimension. I will say it has been very difficult from Sophia's side to come into this place, not just because of the human integration, but then what extends outward beyond that and the collective human integration. There's been so much density, it's really intense energy here. It's like trying to shed light into a black hole. Um, but it's happening. It's happening. And we don't need to doubt that. We can celebrate it and know it as truth. So 5 years of this integration and coming into the black hole of the human body, I learned shortly after this awakening. Oh, I'm not even telling the whole story. I missed parts. Um, Part number one that I was gonna say, no, I can't tell part number one first. Maybe I'll edit this. We'll see. Maybe you'll just get my rambling a little bit all over the place because that's the honesty. That's the authentic imperfection of all of this. I wanted to share that shortly after Sophia coming into my heart again and lockdown with the broken foot, I felt called to work with a shaman who is deeply aligned in the Jesus Christ frequency. And we're there and he's doing work on my DNA and all this other stuff, and I'm off, la da da da, spiritually somewhere else. And Jesus comes to me and he hands me this beautiful orb of white light. And he said, "This is the pearl. This is the Sophia pearl. It is yours." And I kid you not, I looked at it and I went, "No, that's okay. You can have it." And that was not going to work. And he said, "No, this is yours. This is yours now. Take it, integrate it, receive it." And somewhat reluctantly, but still in a state of surrender, I took it, I received it, I integrated it into my womb space. And then I felt called to look up, this is part two of my story, to look up the meaning of the name Megan. And right, pre-internet, 13-year-old child had already gone and done this, and oh, this is what it means from the baby books, etc. And then no, this time I did it with the benefit of Google. Thank you for, advances in space and time and technology. And Google tells me Megan is the Greek word for pearl. So none of this was by accident. Hence the Sophia Pearl. Hence, I also confuse everybody to no end because I go by both. I still use Megan. A lot of people after their awakenings and receiving their spiritual name will change their name. And I have not because my names are like this representation of this existence. Megan, the pearl, the vessel. The pearl is the same energy as the same, like the beginning of creation from Sophia. And so we honor that. We honor the human. And then I go by Sophia because, yes, this is Sophia. I am Sophia. The wisdom, the consciousness of the creation of the all. Okay, I think I can come back to the point that I was at in my story. Um, which is the completion of the 5-year contract. Now, I had made this contract with Sophia on October 31st, 2020. That was the day that I had moved my entire life into a storage space to begin my life anew with my new partner. Again, for another video. But I realized at that time that I have to take the time to really integrate. So that ended October 31st, 2025, just a few weeks ago from the filming of this. And I I remember, and there's been so many deaths and rebirths in those 5 years, and so much energy work and so much meditation. And then there was another dying to self experience on October 31st. And then, as all things do in their divine alignment, I was invited to participate in a sweat lodge. And the sweat lodge was on November 1st. And in the last few weeks, I have recently developed an allergy to smoke. So I'm at this sweat lodge, not really able to breathe. I think I felt like 30% capacity because the rest of me was just reacting. I had my EpiPen on board, but the amount of love and care and nurturing that I was receiving from all of the beings, the physical beings and the spiritual beings that were there, that were holding me and assuring me to allow myself to be in that vulnerability. And being in the sweat lodge in that moment, it wasn't quite 0 point. It wasn't the death or the ending or the pure potential. It was like fetus like. There were the embers of new creation. And it was in the womb, returning to that. And so here we are a few weeks later. I'm going to say 3 weeks later. I don't know what day it is, but sure. And everything is fresh again. And everything is whole. And I will say for my human aspects that there is no more grasping, that there is no more trying, that there is no more fear, that there is no more instability, that all systems are running well and in full alignment in divine love and in the wholeness with Sophia. So I'm personally so happy being in that place of balance, of equilibrium, of alignment. I want very much to hear from you in the comments about your personal embodiment experiences. And I want to hear how you feel in that integration. I am the first to say it is just intensely difficult to move through these things that those of us that are called to do. And I would say all humans are called to do that. It's a matter of when you surrender to it. Um, it is so challenging. It is so challenging, and that the only mechanism that we can ever really rely on to move us through that process is surrender and love. Because no matter what, we are held. Grace and love are unconditional. And if we are willing to meet ourselves in it, then there is a way through. And it's an uncomfortable and difficult and frustrating and all of the human emotions that arise from that. And there's so much reprogramming that takes place. And there's so much that we want to yell at the wall and all of the messy humanness. And all of it is precious and part of that process. And it is valid and it is true. And it sucks and it's amazing at the same time. And we hold that truth, we hold that dichotomy because it is worthy. So, wherever you are in your journey, you are worthy. And you are worthy of moving through. And you are worthy of everything that you are called on to do. Because, of course you are. Look at how amazing you are. And I love you. So, one special thing that I really want to include in these videos, and it's something that's become a little bit of I guess, a trademark of mine or a thing that I do and that I work with is to do a quantum code. Now, I will get into the story behind quantum codes in another video because it really deserves its own story. But I want to share that these codes, they really make up everything. Uh, Sacred geometry, right? What is sacred geometry? But codes. And there are strings of numbers that create the frequencies of everything that we perceive in our reality, and every energetic frequency that moves that is from source or from aspects of non-love or wherever it's coming from, there's going to be a number. And so I always want to lead you or leave you with a quantum code that will be connected to the energy of whatever the story is, whatever the video is, and whatever you can work through um, in terms of the integration of having sat down with me and heard this story and shared your energy with me and all of the beauty that all of this is. So today, our very first quantum code is going to be 442918. 442918. 442918. This code is for soft embodiment. It meets you where you are in your spiritual process in terms of what your body can hold in this instant, in your own evolution, your own receiving. And it aids you in that divine process through divine love from source consciousness, loving you unconditionally through every single facet, every moment, every frequency, every atom of your precious being. 442918. How incredibly beautiful you are. Thank you so much for joining me for this very first episode of Sophia Speaks. These will come out once weekly, so please subscribe and like and hype and all of these like very worldly things. And I would be deeply honored if you would, and comment, if you would do this to assist this precious algorithm and to assist this energy in reaching those for whom it is meant, for carrying that forth, because our work of divine love is so preciously important and amazing. And thank you. Just thank you. I love you so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.